And now we're going to be talking with Lisa Littlebird. This is so exciting for me. I just love everything that Lisa is doing in our community. And if you have seen her and her groups in action, you know really what I mean. But you're going to find out a lot today. So let me just introduce you. Lisa Littlebird uses singing as an ancient natural pathway. She is the founder of The Bird Sings. And her interest is in making an authentic connection with oneself and the world. When joining voices in community, the benefits are immeasurably magnified. And you'll see as we talk what she means. Singing in community cultivates wellness, mindfulness, empathy, and joy. So you can imagine that's why I wanted Lisa to be here and talk with us. We're talking today about the arts and healing, and this is definitely a beautiful example. So Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. I'm super happy to be here with you.
And so can you tell us, just maybe give us an outline of what is The Bird Sings?
The Bird Sings is my umbrella for my working with singing as a tool of transformation and healing on the planet.
Beautiful.
And I have a number of different avenues in which I do that, including workshops and retreats throughout California and beyond internationally, classes that I offer, private voice work, one-on-one with individuals, and kind of my centerpiece offering here in Monterey is the Wholehearted Chorus. I'm the director of a 65-member singing amateur chorus here on the peninsula.
Is that right?
Constantly growing.
That's what I
Bursting
understand.
at the seams, outgrowing our rehearsal space and doing really well.
That's exquisite. And so before we get into more details about Wholehearted Chorus, how do you do it? how do you do? You're traveling.
It's a work in progress.
You're going everywhere. Do you have a full-time scheduler? How do you juggle all those things? You do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a work in progress that you're witnessing right here, right now. I'm always endeavoring to see where I can have the most impact and offer service at the highest level and still make a living and support myself and have a good quality of life. But I don't complain. I live in the most beautiful place on the planet and sing for a living. So
it's all good.
It's good.
So let's talk about that transformation. That's what you're going for wherever you are, right? Whenever, even if you're with one person or you're with the 64 or whoever you're with, can you talk about what that means to you when people show up? What are they showing up with, and then how are you taking them through a journey?
For sure. I'm happy to talk about that. To me, well, I'll start with the heart of it.
Yeah.
For me, to get right into it is on our last day on the planet, at the end of our lives, I don't believe that we're going to wish we had more stuff or money or words or anything like that. I think we're going to wish we had more love, more openness in our hearts, and wish for blessings for all the people that we've touched. And there's a way that music reaches those places where words can't, and it's an emotional thing for me because it's constantly happening. Life is giving us the school of, I call it heart knocks, the school of heart knocks.
That's brilliant.
We have a lot of difficulties that we face in our lives. I have a dear friend whose 20-year-old son just passed away this week, and it's impossible, grief. Yeah. And it's impossible to have words to soothe him or for him to use to describe his experience, but he happens to be a sound healer and a flute player, and I know this will make him a more effective healer and teacher, because as our soul grows and we learn to use those learnings from our lives and infuse it into creative expression, particularly music, it is a transformational experience for everybody around us, and it's a heart-opening experience that's impossible to deny and can touch even the most bitter, rigid, tough exterior. And so it's a way in with people that's really powerful and very meaningful to me.
That's amazing. So can you talk about any of the people who have come into your chorus group particularly, who may have really, I find in these kinds of things, lots of times, people who struggle with articulating this and that through music they find their voice, and other people who have a harder time regulating their energy in a productive way find their center, find their calm. And do you find that is also happening with the chorus group and maybe some other things?
You said it. You said it. All those things. We have every kind of person come in to the chorus. We have people who are in the prime of their lives and just doing really well, and this is a place of celebration and a joyful connection. And we have a lot of people who are not in joyful places, who are in struggle, and they need discipline. So they need a regular place to go. They need structure, and they need a family. We offer instant community. The minute people walk in the door, they're a part of a tribe.
I feel that every time I look at any of your photos or anything, that's what I see first. I notice that there's a closeness. It's just there. You can see it.
It's strong, and music helps facilitate that. That's one of the reasons, that I find singing so powerful in groups. But often in the chorus work, people start confronting their own layers of their personal relationship with their voice. Almost everybody that comes into the chorus comes in with a measure of anxiety.
I would.
Well, for sure. I mean, it's just everybody has that with their voice. Even the most professional, has some measure of anxiety, because it's the most authentic, one of the most authentic expressions we have, and to be seen that way is quite exposing. And most people don't feel a lot of confidence in their singing. And so my group endeavors to appeal primarily to those people. It's a place where nobody's ever turned away, and it's a welcoming, supporting environment where we just learn to get better together.
So how do you do that with 64 people?
Well,
what's the magic solution?
Come to a class. I think it's, again, a bit hard to describe. It happens through the music. We just start, we just go, we just jump in, and we do it by oral tradition. So I make my priority to reduce the barriers to entry.
Wow.
I don't like to call myself a teacher. I like to call myself a facilitator, because facilitator means to make easy. And
I never thought of that.
That's what I consider my job, is to make it easier. And it's something that tends to be right on the outsides of the comfort zone circle. And so I offer songs that are simple, that are repetitive, that are done by ear. So almost, I would say, less than a third of our choir members have ever learned, have ever sung in any kind of a group before, and have ever read music in their lives. So we've never had a piece of sheet music enter our rehearsal space ever. It's all lyric sheets if it's complex, but mostly I encourage, just get off the paper and just listen and stay receptive and receive the song and just tune in, and we learn better that way, and we actually learn how to learn through learning to sing together in that way.
That's amazing. And when did you start that? What was the impetus to starting the?
It was a process, an evolutionary process, but I started teaching oral tradition singing classes for the first time a decade ago at Esalen Institute, where I lived and worked for 2 years as an extended student.
Oh, yeah.
And I was exposed to Issei Barnwell. She is a mentor. She's one of the founding members of Sweet Honey in the Rock, African-American female a cappella group based in D.C.
They're amazing.
And she teaches at Esalen every year a week-long songs from the African-American tradition. And it was all oral tradition, and she was teaching complex 4-part layered harmonies to non-singers, self-identified non-singers, with incredible, powerful effect. And it only occurred to me after several days with her that it was unique to have the skill that she had, that I actually had those skills. I could hear the harmonies, and I could place the voices, and other people began reflecting that to me, so I decided to start offering it myself and have honed my craft over a decade of teaching.
That's exquisite. So I know that you think about that transformational process, and that part of your facilitating is not just being able to technically render a tone or a note or whatever, or a part or something,
right?
But really getting into more that's subtle, I'm sure, but cultivating joy, well-being, that whole idea, the community and the empathy, and I know you also really think about the role of music as medicine, really, really powerful medicine. So what other things are you doing in addition to your Wholehearted Chorus group that are along those lines that people might really, really want to know about, especially now if they hear so many of your ideas that are so compelling? So thank you.
Certainly. Yeah, everybody needs their own way in. And I think the chorus is an ideal one because there's immeasurable benefits in singing together, not just doing it on our own. But that's often kind of too high of a step for some people to jump in and sing with other people. So I do one-on-one work with folks, and I find incredibly rewarding transformational results working with people in that way. My capacities are limited in doing that, but for instance, there's a woman in my voice studio who came to me with no singing experience whatsoever, just in knowing that she needed to step into her voice more in her life. She was terrified, had no confidence in her ability to hear or match a pitch, and now I'm preparing her for her first recital.
That's wonderful.
And I get to truly see how singing reflects the energetics of our lives as well, and it impacts the energetics of our lives. So we start with this very mechanical, physical formula of breathing exercises, and here's how to produce the voice more strong, more resonant, more beautiful. And here's how to attune and to listen better to the sounds around us so we can match them and sound in harmony with them. And as people learn those skills, you can't help but see how that ripples into their lives in all kinds of other ways. Their level of confidence, how they hold themselves, how they relate and share themselves with others. So the private voice work is one way.
And what are the kinds of things, like how do they characterize it to you? Like after they've been with you for several weeks or several months or maybe even longer, when they think back, they must know, they were like this before and now what?
We celebrate. We high five a lot in my lessons. And it's nice to have a partner or a person in their lives to reflect back. Do you remember when? And you can see the pride and the confidence as it blossoms in people. And that's incredibly powerful and rewarding.
That's amazing. So I know one of the things that you've done, in addition to doing so much here in Monterey County, is that you've taken all of this to different settings around the world.
Yes.
Can you talk about how that got started and how, when you are somewhere else, where are your people coming from to join you?
So a couple things. I really see music, one of the powers of music is its connectivity. It creates webs of connection with people who otherwise wouldn't have them. I mean, just our chorus is a great example of like these are people who would not know each other if they were not all in the chorus together. And so that facilitates true community, which to me is intergenerational. We have a 16-year-old to an 88-year-old. And multiracial, multi-ethnic, and just a variety of diverging financial backgrounds and resources. So music brings people together who otherwise wouldn't, and I love to facilitate that internationally because it brings people. It feels like a microcosm of global healing when that happens. And so I offer retreats internationally.
Well, we're going to send you to the UN.
I've always thought, what if the Senate had to start every session with a song? What our government would be doing.
But starting with your song is the point. That's the idea. So tell me some more. So when you are somewhere, are people traveling with you to go somewhere, or are you?
We travel together to destinations, and then we have a trip of a lifetime, and it's a nourishing, multi-level true retreat for the spirit. So I've done women's workshops primarily in Bali, but I'll also be extending to Costa Rica and other places soon. And we dance and we sing, because to me those two are kissing cousins in their transformational benefit. To me, my co-facilitator, Jocelyn Gordon, and I, we really believe and embody, we are only as free in our lives as we are free in our bodies and in our voices. Mm-hmm. And so when we free those bodies, when we free those voices, our lives get better. It's just impossible for that not to be the outcome. And so we find that. And we did a Bali retreat a couple of years ago with women from 11 different countries in the group. And that was quite astonishing to feel like the power of compassion and empathy and connection that was fostered in a week of depth together. So I love those immersive experiences as well. And they stay in contact, and they're now friends and travel to Japan and other places to meet each other. And we have friends all over the globe, truly, because of these experiences.
That's exquisite. So how do people find out about you? Is it through your website? Can you give us your website? And,
sure.
Is that the best way to connect?
It is.
Where do they? Right now, people are probably like, I want this, I want that, and I'm definitely going to travel. And so it's just so compelling.
Certainly.
It's so exciting. And I'm thinking, okay, like maybe in a couple of years or maybe next week. So
that happens.
So how would people? I know where to find you, but how would other people find you?
My website is the best way. Thebirdsings.com.
That's so easy. The Bird Sings.
Thebirdsings.com,
beautiful.
and the choir, which is also on there, but it can also be reached by wholeheartedchorus.org.
I saw that name. So, and before we let you go, we do want to talk about the Threshold Choir, and if we can, the sound healing class.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm really putting a lot of my energy into intentional sound healing, music as medicine, more and more in my life. I think it's impossible for it not to happen every time we connect to our hearts and make music. That is music medicine. So I'm not studying or training in the particular frequencies that many other sound healers work with very technically about frequencies that have been scientifically shown to prevent bone loss or different healing qualities. But I am working with instruments that have been created and tuned by those people, and I'm bringing more of them into my work. And I offer a sound healing class in Carmel every Tuesday. And it's a beautiful, more restorative class where the chorus is very energetic and uplifting. This is more nurturing and more restorative and more sound healing, crystal bowls, and I have a hung drum and guitar, more instruments that are soothing to the soul, which is often a really beautiful way for people who have higher sensitivities, or maybe it's just too much energy for the large group.
So before we let you go, please just say a minute about Threshold Choir. There's something coming up, is that right?
So I just would like to mention the Threshold Choir. I'm not an active participant in the Threshold Choir, but to me, they really embody the movement of music in the direction that I see it as most beneficial. The Threshold Choir is a profound organization that sings at hospice bedsides. And it's an interest of mine to be moving in that direction. But our sound healing class offers songs from those repertoire. And, maybe it sums it up best to say that at the end of our lives, the currency that I'm going to want to have in my life are songs, not money. That's the currency that never stops accruing interest. And I've had many people come to me and say, when my mom passed, I sang the song that we learned last week. And to me, there's just nothing more rewarding than that. It makes it all worth living for.
We're going to end right there. Thank you, Lisa Littlebird. It's such a great pleasure to talk with you, and I look forward to learning a lot more in the years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.